If you are the owner of a PA firm or any other business, you are going to love this video because I'm going to give you the top 5 ways to take your company from startup to juggernaut in just 5 different steps. So make sure you listen to this one because it's in 3, 2, 1. What's up, advocates? Welcome back to another episode of the Commercial Claims Show. I am your host, Vince Perry, the owner and CEO of Elite Resolutions. And today I'm going to talk about my favorite subject, business, running a business, starting a business, managing a business, taking it to the next level, growing a business. This is what, for me, it's all about. Listen up, advocates. Whether you're a public adjuster, contractor, or an attorney, if you have a client that has suffered any kind of catastrophic loss, whether that be by fire or storm or just any catastrophic loss that requires your client to have to move out and incur ALE and loss of use coverage, you need to think about looking at Black Diamond Services. This is an incredible idea for a service that I think is extremely valuable, and I've actually personally used for my clients myself. Basically, what they do is they provide all of the necessary money that is needed to be done for the homeowner to go and move to another place, whether that be a hotel or another home or whatever it is. They basically bill through their insurance policy's loss of use coverage, and basically they provide financial assistance so that the insured never has to incur any out-of-pocket expenses. It's an amazing service. I love the people at Black Diamond Services, especially Millie Varela. If you just contact her and contact Black Diamond Services, I'm telling you, they're going to take care of your clients like you wouldn't believe. I personally have a client who suffered a fire damage and had to use their ALE coverage, and all we did was refer them to Black Diamond. Our clients did not have to come out of pocket a single penny. Black Diamond provided all of the financial money, and they provided the actual location for the homeowner to stay. Amazing service. Contact Black Diamond Services today so you could find out more information for yourself. You know, I've been a public adjuster for 14 years handling claims. I still handle claims, mainly large loss, really nothing under $500,000 is what I personally handle myself. But what I love, what I'm passionate about is really just growing a business, because to me, the business is the product. If you are in a service industry, then chances are you're a public adjuster and you're an owner of a firm, or you're thinking about owning a firm, and you're going to want to listen to this video. But right off the bat, we've got our top 5, but I'll give you one, 5.0 or 5.1 is just, you got to treat your business as a product. You got to be passionate about it. You got to love your business because it's a service industry, so it's not a product. The product is the business, and you have to constantly be looking at it and caressing it and feeding it and growing it so that you can make it into what you feel like it can be. Now, if you feel that you've got some special idea, I want to call this out because I used to feel like this. I've owned several businesses, and by far Elite Resolutions and Commercial Claims Advocate are 2 of my most successful business as of date. And that's just because of the learning process, right? It's just, it takes time. You're going to learn, you're going to fail, you're going to learn, you're going to fail, you're going to fail 5 times before you do something right. And that's the beauty of entrepreneurship is honestly, it's a lot of just risk and taking risk and trying new things and see if it works. And if it doesn't work, you try something else and you just continue to learn. So it has helped me. My failures in business have helped me to where we are today at Elite Resolutions and Commercial Claims Advocate too. And I'm continuing to fail. We're all continuing to fail, but it's just a beautiful thing. Business to me is it's just what it's all about. Entrepreneurship is just so important to our economy. I mean, I think they say it's one of the most important things in our economy is the success of small business, the success of entrepreneurship, the success of ideas that are coming out of it. And it's just an amazing thing. So let's just get right into it, I guess. We'll get into our top 5. So I'm also going to recommend some books that I think you should read to help you in your journey of taking your business from startup to juggernaut is what we're calling it. So, all right. So top 5. You ready? Top 5. All right. Number 1 is processes. Processes are so important. And if I could recommend the first book, I'm going to recommend E-Myth Revisited. We'll leave a link for it below. The letter E-Myth Revisited. Okay, it's an old book that was written years ago, and the reason why it's called Revisited is because they actually rewrote the whole book. A lot of it's the same, but with a lot of new things. I believe they originally wrote it in the 70s or something like that, and then they rewrote it again in the 90s or maybe in the 2000s. I can't remember. I read it so long ago, but I still go back to it. And processes are so important. And the reason why this is number 1 is because whether you're a public adjusting firm or you're just a solo public adjuster, or even if you work for another public adjuster, make sure that you're putting your processes down. What do you think this book is, guys? It's the Elite Claims Process is what we call it, all right? Full disclosure, but it's just everything that, I've learned and my process of handling claims throughout 14 years of experience. It's just me sort of writing everything down, me saving my emails, me saving my letters, me writing the same email so many times that I just made it into a template, because all processes is the same thing you're doing over and over again. And you want to be able to try to put these down. And what E-Myth Revisited talks about is you want to have your processes down so tight that you could hand your operations manual, is what it's called, to somebody who doesn't know anything about public adjusting, and they can take that operations manual and start a company with it. Crazy, right? That's how detailed these processes have to be. So if I can give you any word of advice, is make sure you start writing these things down. Make sure you start putting it in paper. Make sure you start getting everything down so that when you start hiring, which is going to be number 2, when you start hiring, is not number 2 actually. When you start hiring, you will be able to give this to an admin. You will be able to give this to another public adjuster under you, to a salesperson, so that they could understand exactly what goes on behind the scenes. So number 1 is processes. Number 2 is structure. Make sure that you have some kind of structure. Now, I guess process and structure is not that different, but here's the reason why I'm calling it structure. I'm going to recommend probably my favorite book of all time, is Traction. Traction is an entrepreneurial system, EOS, entrepreneurial operating system. It is an operating system on how you run your business. And it really breaks everything down. It structures everything and keeps you on track to keep moving forward. Because a couple things happen. 2 things happen as an entrepreneur. Number 1 is you just lose any kind of momentum, and people just sort of get off track, and they're not sort of doing what sort of needs to be done on the daily basis, on a weekly basis, on a 3-month basis, to make sure you're hitting the goals that you need to be hitting. Number 2 is actually kind of contrary, is you get off track completely. You may just start wanting to do other things that's related to your business. Or, hey, I want an office today, and then tomorrow I want to go virtual, and then tomorrow I want to do something else. So what Traction does is it breaks everything down into a 10-year goal, a 10-year goal, a 3-year goal, a 1-year goal, a 90-day goal, and then a weekly scorecard. And you meet with your team every single week. And by team, I mean, guys, it could be one other person. That's how we started. It was myself and one other person. Then it was myself and 2 other people. Now it's myself and I think 16 other people. So imagine that, and it's just a weekly meeting, and you have a quarterly meeting that is a way that you actually run that meeting. There is a yearly meeting, a way that you run that meeting. We actually had our first a state of the organization, like a State of the Union address, where we got everybody together. We'll leave a photo right here. You can see photo. All right, right here, of just the entire organization. It's just really, really cool, but it keeps everybody on track. With a weekly scorecard, we're keeping track of how many claims we signed, how many claims we closed, how many settlement amounts, how many estimate amounts, what's the revenue, and we share it with everybody so everybody's on the same page. And if there's anything struggling, we want to have one of those state of the organization meetings to let everybody know, hey, we're struggling with this thing. We want everybody to pitch in and really get it and really get that number to where we want it to be. It keeps everybody on track. It doesn't allow things to get out of hand, and it keeps everybody moving in the right direction. So structure's number 2, and the book you have to read is Traction. The next thing I would recommend, which a lot of you aren't going to like this one, is capital. Capital, what is capital? It's money. Here's the reason why. So claims, we all know it takes a while to get paid. It can take 2 months. It can take 2 years. It can take 3 years, right? So you're working and working and working. You don't get paid for a long time. So I think capital is probably the number 1 concern you need to have. First of all, if you're just starting out as a public adjuster, is having capital to be able to wait about a year or 2 before you start really making some decent money. Hate to say it. But if you're running a firm, you're going to have overhead. Even if like us, we're virtual, we've got, trust me, a lot of overhead, and we're all virtual. But we still have a lot of overhead. We've got full-time employees. We've got operating systems and CRMs that we have to pay for. We've got marketing material we have to pay for. It's a lot of overhead, even us who's a virtual firm. I would say if and when you're watching this video, we might have an office already, but that's a small amount compared to the whole thing, to be honest. So make sure you have capital, because you do not want to lose all your money, okay? Very, very important. So capital going into it is very important. And I would recommend is don't start a firm until you have enough capital. Maybe get one of those big claims paid, and now you got a lot of money. Now you can invest that. Don't go piss it all away and use it to what your goals are. So number 3 is capital. Number 4 is hiring. Oh boy. Hiring, if I could explain to you, it's all about making sure you have the right people in the right seats. Traction teaches you that as well. I'll give you a quick thing. I should make a separate video about this, but our hiring process is actually very extensive. We require a resume. We send an application that needs to be filled out, and 2, not 1, but 2 assessments need to be done. Now, we don't make our decisions based on these assessments, but the assessments gives you a really good idea of what some of these people's strengths and weaknesses are. And depending on the role that you're looking for or the position, you might want to have some different things high and some different things low. I'll tell you guys honestly, the 2 assessments that we send are the Culture Index and the Strength Finder. We'll leave a link below so that you can take a look at those. Culture Index and Strength Finder are the 2 that we give to any new applicant. And then after that, after we review all that, then the interview process starts. And there's always 2 interviews. There's always 1 interview with myself and 1 other person, and then there's the final interview to just iron out anything else that needs to be ironed out, and then we make our decision from there. So, but it's just so important, because what I noticed is the wrong person in the wrong seat, or it's a disaster, guys. It's a disaster. So I would recommend, if you're going to go through the hiring process, honestly, I would recommend you contact my business coach, Eric Wang. We'll leave his information below here. Eric Wang is not only my business coach, but he's also a personal friend, and he'd be very grateful to know that we did this for him here. But he helps me a lot with the hiring process because he really understands these charts. The guy has a multi-million-dollar apparel company in Texas, and he's in charge of all the hiring. So I would recommend hiring Eric to help hire other people. But anyway, hiring, super important. And then the last thing, which is really something that we're trying to constantly get better with, is training. You have to be able, insurance claims, especially if you've been doing this for a long time, it might seem simple to you, but it's a very complicated process. There's so many different directions you can go with a claim, so many different arguments you can make. So make sure you have a good training system in place, that any new adjuster that comes on, any new admin, even marketing that comes on, that you want to give them an understanding of what's going on, put them through the training as well. Have them understand everything that goes on throughout the claims process. Who are you marketing to? Who do you want to get? What kind of claims? There's so many things. We actually have, anybody that's coming on board, we have a course style. All right. So we've taken basically training videos that we've done and we've put it into a course style so that any new hire that comes in, they log on to this course and they could take the course, and we could see whether they actually finished the course or not. And then we have little questions and answers and stuff like that. So to see if they're actually learning on understanding the claims process. And it's not just the claims process, because they could also take our course that we have for CCA, but it's also making sure that they're understanding our internal operations process, which is how we go through our CRM, how often we follow up, how to work the system, who to contact if you have a question for this, who to contact if you have a question for that. It gets very, very, very complicated. We put them through a course. But either way, if you don't have that nice formal stuff, you want to make sure that you just open communication. And I would, for any new hire, especially adjusters too, if you're hiring adjusters, is I would probably set up a weekly meeting of training, help answering any questions that they might have, and recording those and then putting those away for future employees that come on. Because it's just very important that you're training these people to do, because it could either be the wrong person or it could be a lack of training that they're not succeeding to the way you want them to succeed. So that's it. I mean, there's so much more, guys, that I can talk about. I feel like I'm cutting this short, but that's my top 5 that I believe are super important if you're going to scale your company. If you have a startup or you're thinking about starting a firm, a public adjuster firm, but this is really good for any business owner, those are my top 5. You got to have processes down, at least an ever-growing formalized process. You got to have structure, making sure you're having constant meetings and you're setting goals. You have to set your weekly and monthly and yearly goals at the very least, and making sure that you're keeping track of those things on a weekly basis. Got to have the capital to start something. Probably any business, you got to have some capital, because you got to have just something to start if expenses are going to be a little bit higher. But grassroots, right? We are grassroots. We really started with zero, with the capital that I came in with from other claims, and we were be able to take it from there. Hiring is very important. Make sure you have a process for hiring, and make sure you are very picky on who you're hiring, and making sure that you have the right people in the right seats. And then training anybody that comes new, making sure you're giving them everything that they need to be successful in your company. And that's it, guys. I hope you enjoyed that. We have everything below: the E-Myth Revisited, Traction, Eric Wang's information, and also Culture Index and Strength Finder is the assessments that we give. I hope you enjoyed that. It's my favorite topic by far in the world. All I read is business books. My wife thinks I'm freaking nuts. I can't read anything but business books pretty much, even on my time off. It's just, I really enjoy it. It's what I'm just super passionate about. If you have any more questions, I do consulting on this, actually, on starting your business, on growing your business. Feel free to reach out to me. My email is all over the place. You could just reach out through our websites, but also you can go on eliteresolutions.com. If you're interested in coming to work for us and really taking a look at how we do things, that'd be the best bet. You could reach out to us through there. Also, you can go on commercialclaimsadvocate.com. You can see everything we got going on there. You know, we've got all kinds of stuff. So if you're a public adjuster, you want to learn this elite claims process, go ahead and get on the commercialclaimsadvocate.com. I forgot to tell you to make sure you subscribe to this channel, but we've got meetups that we do all the time where you can see me personally. You could ask me these questions on how to do it. We have speakers that talk about these things. We've had Eric Wang speak at our events, so you can learn a lot at our events as well. What else do we have? We have the book. We have an online course. You can see the online course of our elite claims process. It's not internal on how we actually do things, but it's the elite claims process. You could find that on the commercialclaimsadvocate.com as well. And social media, you could follow me. I'm pretty responsive. I'm very responsive on Instagram and Facebook, so if you want to reach out to me there. And that's all I got. I hope you enjoyed us talking about my ultimate favorite subject, and that's business. Guys, have yourself a great week. I hope you enjoyed the video. Check out all the other videos that we have on our commercial claims show, and I hope to meet you soon. Have a great week. Peace out.